Okay, I'm not an expert on this, but I'm going to try to break it down for you, right? For you to understand it on a high level at least, so you can know how to better defend your organization, okay? And we all know that the most important thing about the organization, even though there's things like perimeter firewalls, there's DLP, there's a WAF, and all these kind of complex uh, cybersecurity mechanisms and platforms and systems, right? But we're going to focus, like I said, the most important thing is you must focus on where your assets, your jewels really lie, which is basically all your servers, lah. Okay, whether it's a web server, whether it's a database server, your servers are your main assets, right? Your Windows servers, your Linux servers. Okay, so that part you already know, right? So you can use things like Tenable to scan for OS kind of vulnerabilities that enable someone to actually remotely hack into your server, right? But that's on a high level. Um, to go even more in depth, one step further in depth into it, right, is to understand um, the context. So, okay, I'm not going to go too deep into this, lah. So I'm just going to show you just a little bit, lah. Okay, let's say for example, let's talk about something like let's talk about something called reverse shells. Okay, so the two sites I sent to you, right, one was called Payload All the Things, right? Payload All the Things is very complex. It covers literally every single weapon or cyber weapon, right, in the hacker's arsenal that they can actually use to create payloads to actually inject, to actually fire into your platforms to trigger a reverse callback to their listener, okay, or C2 callback, lah. It's the same concept, lah, okay. But let's talk about reverse shell generator at the most fundamental level, right? Okay, so there's this thing called revshells.com, and revshell.com you can see. Let me just scroll down and let me show you how it looks like. It basically generates these are called payloads, by the way. Okay, which means that, for example, say this is a bash minus I, means interactive kind of shell. If I paste this command, right, I take this command and I paste it into any Linux terminal, right, it will be able to make the callback into my IP address, my listener. Let's assume my listener is on the IP address 10.10.10.10 on port 9001. It will actually, if I just fire this command on any Linux terminal, right, it will immediately make the callback and spawn me a shell on my end. Okay, very scary, very scary. Okay, so ref shell generator is what people use to quickly generate shells for themselves, lah. Okay, so what happens is that ref shell generator you can also break it into different kind of platforms, whether it's for Linux, Windows, or for Mac OS. Mac OS because it's BSD, so it's a little bit different. Okay, it's more like Unix kind of commands. So let's say for example like let's say let's say like Linux, right? Okay, if you scroll down, you can see that there's so many different things which are Linux related, right? Okay, sorry, let me just go back to all first, just to show it to you a little bit. Okay, so let's say I stop by all, I go down to PHP. Okay, if I go down to PHP, okay, maybe PhD exact or something, you can see something like this. You see, okay. So basically, this can actually generate PHP code for me, right? Um, that I can actually, if this is something that's embedded within my PHP code, okay, I can save it as a PHP file. And let's say you have a upload, let's say your portal actually has an upload part, lah, that allows me to upload files. And let's say your upload doesn't properly check for what files is being uploaded. I can actually take this code and save it into a PHP file, okay, and upload the PHP file into your upload portal. And then if I know how to actually call that file back, right, on your portal, I can trigger that file. This will execute the file on your end, and if your end actually supports PHP, right? Okay, if a portal is using PHP, obviously it supports PHP lah. So if I trigger this, if I manage to trigger the URL for this file, right? Okay, on your end will make a callback into my net listener. Okay, so these are what we call the payload. So the reverse shell generator is actually basically this is basically a reverse shell payload lah. Okay, what we call reverse shell payload. Okay, now once you understand the concept of this, right, okay, I'm going to just go straight into um, how I actually, again, I'm using ChatGPT to help you to understand this, lah, okay. So Fortigate, for example, Fortigate firewalls actually they do support regex, lah, okay. And these are the things that they can use to filter web filtering, email, DLP, the context, or application control. The ones that we are very interested in is actually DLP because if you do have, in this case, let's say for example, you do have an upload portal to upload files for your customers or users to actually upload files into. Okay, I'll be concerned about DLP because they can actually upload a weaponized backdoor PHP file or Python file or something and trigger it from there. You see, okay, from the web browser, they can trigger it and then make it do a callback into their listener. So That's the thing that I'm concerned about, you see. So of course I also asked about the policy. The policy can be applied, the DLP profile, right? The regex DLP profile the regex profile can be applied to inbound outbound policy. So in this case, I'm going to apply on the inbound policy because their users are accessing my upload portal that's hosted on server is behind my firewall, right? So when they upload a file means that it's actually sending to me. So that's an inbound policy. Okay. So what I do is that I get ChatGPT to generate the two names first lah. Sorry, the two files first lah. Okay, to actually do a callback. Okay, which is one is called back.php and one is called back.py. Okay. So over here you can see that first you can change the IP and you can change the port lah, the destination port lah. Okay. This IP will be a public IP lah. Let's see if I'm running my naked listener on the public let's say I got a public VPS server or something. I'll be running it down there. So this will be public IP followed by a port number lah. Okay, and I can actually save this as a PHP file. Okay, so anyway, it generates for me and then it allows me to download both the files. One is a backdoor PHP and one is a backdoor.python. Okay, so what happened is that the problem is that you see, I do not want to block based on these file names or file types because these file names and file types can be changed, right? Or rather, the file type will remain the same, but they can change the file name lah. They can change it to something.php or something.py, and they can bypass my firewall filters, right? So what happens is that we use something called regex, okay, to actually look for the patterns of the file contents. Okay. Now take note that of course this works only against non-compiled languages lah. Compiled languages like if let's say I write in Golang, I compile into a binary executable file, right? That means an exe file. Then of course this will be useless to you lah, because binary means your firewall cannot see my code now, right? Which is why you see the majority of all the C2 kind of callback, they write in C coding, they write it in C, right? Standard C lah, no? And then they compile it in the binary. They compile it to run on Windows. So it's actually a Windows C compiler, and then they compile it on Windows, and then they run it on Windows, see? So the firewall cannot scan that kind of thing, because that is actually a compiled binary. But in the context I'm talking about here is, let's say you have a portal that enables file uploading, right? They can actually upload .py files or .php files and then trigger it on the web browser to make the callback. So in this case, right, I actually would want to create a regex, something like this, right? Okay, that I can put into a firewall policy, okay, a DLP policy to prevent it from going through. So if you look at Fortinet, right, I don't have a screenshot of it lah. I don't have access to Fortinet. So anyway, I'm using one of the YouTube videos that shows under security profile, you see there's a DLP, right? Then the files over here, they can actually use the regular expression. Okay, you can actually paste, you can copy and paste this thing straight into the regular expression within the firewall itself. Yeah, so this will enable the firewall to be able to block the inbound file that's being sent uploaded into your portal lah. Yeah. So you can see that yeah, you can do the same thing for Python as well lah. This is the regex for the Python lah, for the Python file as well. Okay. Yeah. And of course, I asked it how do we actually put this into Fortinet. So it shows me lah. Okay. Yeah. So basically, the reason why I mentioned this is let's say like I said, the scenario is, let's say you got a portal that accepts file uploads, right? And you don't want people to go and upload backdoors into your portal, right? So a very good way, of course, hackers have a lot of different ways they try to trick the upload into accepting their uploads, and then they execute it from there. So the only way is that you must scan what is the file content. That means the malicious code content that's within it, you see. So we know that just by using ChatGPT, right, it's able to actually generate the code for, let's say, PHP. This is basically reverse shell code for PHP, okay? You can see it opens up sockets and stuff like that. That means it's making a callback. And then once it succeeds, right, you actually execute the bin/bash bin/sh, which is actually a shell on your remote Linux server. Okay, so this is very, very scary. So basically what you're doing is that you're telling ChatGPT to create the regex, okay, to scan for patterns that look like this backdoor, okay, like this backdoor code. Anything that matches it, okay, even if they do change the code, right, but it matches certain parts of it, the function calls, so it matches those, right, it will immediately block the connection or drop the file, right? Yeah, so that's how it works, okay. So this is the reason why I told you to go and study study the shellcode generator to understand how they actually create the payload. You see, yeah. I will explain to you in another time about the payload, all the things. This one goes a little bit deeper actually. Payload, all the things is very, very vast, by the way. It's a very vast library of literally every known payload to man, right? To humankind, right? That can be used to actually attack different kind of systems, whether it's Windows or Solaris, Unix, Linux, whatever. Okay, it is the most I would say they are the most complete lah resource lah that you can actually use for hackers lah. So they can even use things like PowerShell as well. So for example, like PowerShell, if you look at you see this entire section over here all the way until here. Okay, these are literally PowerShell commands, which means that if I copy this right and save it into a .ps1 file, right? Okay, I can actually execute this file and it will, on any of your Windows servers, it will make a callback into my naked listener, right? So what I do is I can actually put this as a regex expression for incoming for DLP to scan any incoming traffic that is DLP, right, with this kind of malicious code. And then your firewall will actually drop the connection. You understand? That's how it works. Or you'll drop the file, lah. Yeah. So yeah, lah, you just need to understand this on this level. You don't need to go too deep. You don't even need to know how the regex works. You don't even need to know how the reverse shell code actually works. You don't need to know any of those. Those are very technical. You need to have very good programming knowledge to actually understand those. You don't really know, but all you need to know is that you must be able to know how to actually how this thing actually works on a high level, right? Then get ChatGPT, get AI to generate for you the regex to actually stop this kind of files, this kind of backdoors. These are payloads, we call it payloads, to stop the payloads. And then you put the payload regex into your firewall so that when such things actually do happen, the firewall is able to stop and block it. Okay, so that's the reason why I say you need to study these two very well. You must go and take a look at the payloads, all the things, okay, which is very important lah. Pay all the things as well as the online shell generator lah. Yeah, it's very, very massive lah. This one actually is redirected from they call it internal all the things, but actually it's actually redirected from pay all the things lah. You just click on all these. Yeah, so pay all the things also is very, very massive. You see, you got everything for AWS, your AWS shell and all that lah. One whole bunch of stuff, even Windows related as well. They can bypass certain things, like the AMSI, all these. These are the Windows kind of security that they built into Windows, or something like DP like that, that they can actually bypass the DP and stuff like that. Yeah, so these are all the payloads. This is very, very powerful and very, very dangerous. There's actually 4 sites that I consider to have very, very good resources um, on cybersecurity, and then these 4 sites needs to be referenced. They need to be studied to some extent. You don't even know everything, but you must know it on a high level, what to look for and things like that. Okay, so one is payload all the things. Okay, the other one is the reverse shell generator. And the next one is actually called GTFO beans, which I did show you before a little bit how it works, right? GTFO stands for get the fuck out beans, which is basically binary files within Linux that are actually misconfigured with the sudo bit turned on, so they can use it to actually escalate their privilege into root. Okay, and then the other one is called lobas, which is living off the LAN binaries and scripts which is basically default binaries. That means default executable files in Windows and scripts in Windows. Okay, Windows also has its own bunch of scripts, right, that they use for WMI and things like that, or even things like simple batch files and stuff like that, or PowerShell scripts, PS1 kind of files. So lobas is basically the default files that come with Windows when you do a fresh install of Windows, right? And some of these binaries or scripts can be misconfigured, and hackers can actually abuse those things remotely to escalate from normal user into local administrator. Okay, they may not be able to get domain admin now, because domain admin is hard to get. I don't unless you do somewhat golden ticket kind of attack, then yes, you'll be able to. But those are very theoretical. In real life, it's difficult to actually attack. Because AD is localized behind the firewall, and you don't open up ports to AD directly. There's no access to AD, unless it's through VPN, via VPN, then it's a different story, Yeah, so Lobans is actually more for like internal Windows. The ones which are more applicable is probably I would say it's probably GTFO bins, because that is related to Linux, you see. Yeah, but I just wanted to show you this just to let you understand how how we can create regex, how we can actually generate regex in order to yeah you can use we can create regex in order to create filters inside the firewall to block such vectors, such points such openings of attacks. So this will reduce your attack surface area by a lot. You see. Okay. I hope this helps lah.